Welcome to Pirenópolis in Brazil, a historical gold mining town roughly 3 hours drive from the capital of Brazil, Brasilia, dated from the 1700s, from the time when Brazil was still a colony of Portugal. In this quick guide, we will tell you some of its history, delicious local eats,
there's a really long queue,
and sightseeing activities. Very cold initially, but it gets warmer.
Wow, it's pretty, huh?
We are Steve and Naz, and we invite you to explore one of Brazil's oldest towns. It's very sweet the way they keep a lot of these old buildings with bright colors and flower beds, and all of this stuff is very cute. Brazil was a colony of Portugal for almost 300 years, and Pirenópolis was one of the towns built during that time. Former mining town, Pirenópolis was founded by the Portuguese in October 7th of 1727 and listed as National Heritage Site in 1989. That's why most of the buildings carry what we call colonial architecture. And look at the cute colors as you walk down the street. It's just so bright and so appealing and so beautiful, and they really kept the traditional style.
So the cost of rooms to rent for 2 people, you're looking probably about $30 a night.
These streets are made of cobblestones. You can see it's not just any cobblestones, it's just irregular stones, and they were placed here by slaves in the 1700s. Let me tell you, driving over this thing is worse than driving over a dirt road, but it's quite fun. Just drive very slow. You will see a lot of stones here in Pirenópolis, and a lot of these stones, they actually come from here.
Where you're walking, right?
Exactly.
That type of stone.
And also most of the Brazilian stones come from here. That's a fun fact about this place. In the 1700s, the name of the city was Mines, because there were a lot of gold mines back then here in Pirenópolis, of Nossa Senhora do Rosário. But then there was a flood, and the flood took away half of the bridge. So they called the city Mines of Nossa Senhora do Rosário of Half Bridge. They were just creative.
Later, they renamed the city to Pirenópolis, which is named after the Pyrenees Mountains in Europe, because there's 2 high elevations nearby here.
One thing about the bridge is that it also faces the old jail right there on the other side. The city council and prison of Pirenópolis was the very first jail in the state of Goiás, built in 1733 near the main church. However, it was demolished in 1919 and a replica was built next to this bridge. In 1999, the city council left the place due to the bad conditions of the building. It was restored in 2005, and the place is now home of the Museum of the Divine Holy Spirit. Right next to the river is the Nossa Senhora do Carmo Church and Museum, built in 1750 by the Frota family as their private church. Owner of many riches and slaves, Antônio Rodrigues Frota built his own castle. On Sundays, he had rugs rolled from his castle to the church so his daughters could walk on them. People say that his 2 daughters were very arrogant, and in addition to expensive clothes, they used gold dust on their hair to go to Sunday services. All members of the Frota family are now buried in the church's sacristies. From the bridge, we can also see the Church of Nossa Senhora do Rosário, built in between 1728 and 1732. It was the first and largest religious building in the state of Goiás, but in 2003, much of its history was lost in the fire, including pieces of art and 5 altars all embellished with gold sheets. After being restored, the church is active and it's one of the most famous postcards of the city. In total, there are 4 famous churches in Pirenópolis, but we only filmed these 2.
That area up there on a Saturday night, that is teeming with like a market.
And they have traditional food, they have a lot of crafts, it's really fun, really lively. Unfortunately, it's not on today, it's only on Saturdays.
So as you come down the hill, got a beautiful view of the entire town. On the weekends, it's really, really busy. You'll get into traffic jams and you'll struggle to find parking. Now, it's pretty quiet in the week, as you can see.
This street here is called the Leisure Street or Rua do Lazer, where most of the fancy restaurants are. When I say fancy, it's like steep prices.
You're probably looking at anything from $10 to $20 per meal, roughly.
I would say even more. You walk here and everybody invites you to come and sit and look at their menu. So we looked and looked and looked, and we came here to this restaurant called Bistrô do Chef, and we chose something called panelinha. Panelinha means a small pot. It's a pot with everything cooked inside together, almost like a risotto. This one we ordered comes with rice piqui, a fruit that has thorns inside, chicken, and covered with cheese and spring onions. 2 people can share. It came to the total of R$88.90. Here are some other restaurants that offer authentic Brazilian food that you may want to try. Number 1, Tempero do Rosário. You pay about $8 per person and you get to eat as much as you like. They got churrasco, which is Brazilian barbecue and desserts. And the food is really good. Number 2, Restaurante da Serra. You pay about $10 per kilogram and you get to dish up your own food. And like the first restaurant, they also include churrasco and desserts. Number 3, this was our top choice, Restaurante Raiz. You pay around $5 per person and you get to eat as much as you like. Like the others, it also includes churrasco and desserts. But this one has a waste fee in case you leave some food on your plate, so be careful.
There's a really long queue.
All of the 3 restaurants get really packed with people, so try to arrive a little bit before lunchtime. But if we're looking for something small to eat, here are some snack bars that we really liked. Number 1, Vila Pastel. They have traditional Brazilian pastry, freshly made juices, and this type of tapioca pancake that you fill up with your choice of cheese, meat, or vegetarian. Number 2, Escritório da Esfirra. This place makes delicious Brazilian pastries, which some of them have Arabic roots. These pies may look ordinary, but trust us, you can be very surprised. Number 3, the street market on Saturday that we mentioned before. You find a wide variety of traditional foods and snacks, all of them homemade and for a fairly good price. Let's not forget one of the main reasons why people come to Pirenópolis, the many waterfalls and trails. If you are looking for an easy trail to go on with a family with kids, the Fazenda Bom Sucesso is for you. This farm hosts 6 waterfalls and beautiful trails surrounded by breathtaking landscape. It's very cold initially, but it gets warmer. They also have their own restaurant and farm animals, which the kids seem to enjoy. Unfortunately, we didn't get to visit any other waterfalls, but just a quick search and you will find tons of them on the internet. The hardest the trail, the most beautiful the waterfalls will be at the end, because you need to catch trails to go to the waterfalls. If you enjoy a hard level trail and spectacular waterfalls, we recommend that you do a search for Cachoeira do Abade and Cachoeira do Rosário. These are 2 of the most famous in the city. How about watching the sunset from the ventilator lookout? The access is a little bit difficult because of the dirt road that leads there, but the view is breathtaking and you can see the entire city. Some people say you can see some of the waterfalls from the top, but we didn't remember seeing anything. Bring a mosquito repellent and a stool or rag, as there isn't much place to sit. And before I forget, don't leave Pirenópolis without taking pictures with some of these statues of cows. Pirenópolis is famous for its thousands of head of cattle. That's why they have so many statues of cows around the city.